Get ready for the review of Wonder Egg Priority. Like, comment, and subscribe. Following the suicide of her best friend and only friend, Kito Nagasaki, Ayo Alto is left grappling with her new reality. With nothing left to live for, she follows the instruction of a mysterious entity and gets roped into purchasing an egg, specifically a Wonder Egg. Upon breaking the egg in a world that materializes during her sleep, Aya is tasked with saving people from the adversaries that comes their way. In doing so, she believes that she has moved one step closer to saving her best friend. With these dangerous yet tempting opportunities in the palm of her hands, Aya enters a place where she must recognize the relationship between other people's demons and her own. A past trauma, unforgettable regret, and innate fear hatches in the bizarre world of Wonder Egg Priority. A young girl discovers the difference between inner struggle tormenting humankind and rescue them from their worst fear. This anime has about 12 episodes. It premiered January 13th, 2021 to March 31st, 2021. It is an original series. It is drama, fantasy, psychological. Each episode is 23 minutes per episode and it's rated R 17 plus for violence and profanity. And I will, before we get to the review, state this is a trigger warning for abuse, rape, depression, and suicide. So if you're not comfortable with that type of subject material, I do not advise you watching this review, and just click out of it just for your mental health, because I care about my viewers and their mental health. Now that's something. Now if those trigger warnings do not trigger you and you're okay with it, then you can continue watching the review. But as I said, trigger warnings for rape, abuse, suicide. So if you're not comfortable with those things, then do not watch it. Now let's get started into the review. The thing I will say about Wonder Egg Priority is the storyline, because it was very fascinating when I first got into it. I remember seeing the trailer for it. I was like, this seems intriguing. Wonder Egg Priority, a girl with like human eyes, like the two different color eyes, and what it's called. And from the start, you have the story of these four girls who find an egg, in the title, egg. But I think it goes more deeper than that when you have the main character, Atoe Aye. For the first episode, you'll see her in the field background, but then she finds this egg with a number stamp on it. And you try and think to yourself, what could that mean? And then you're transitioning into where she enters this dreamlight state, representing her middle school. And then things just go 0 to 100 real quick when a voice yells out to her saying to break the egg, and there's a girl inside. And, when there's two girls and these evil little minion things, I think the whole deeper symbolism is between these two evil little creatures that you'll see is like the symbols of any bystander who allows bullying or harassment to happen. And I think for this kind of symbolism, it kind of designs the creatures that kind of convey the idea. With the creatures, they wear like these demonic masks, well knives, and they leave a blood trail of red paint, like any horror game. I think aesthetic could really seem. And also, these monsters can only harm them when you're tackled in the dream world, but the wound don't necessarily go away. As soon as like these girls wake up, the trauma they experienced in the dream world happens to them in the real world, and they have to recover from it. And like they have these bosses called Wonder Killers, kind of represent the person who torments the egg girl in the real world. And like the message is trigger warning, like I said before, deals with abuse, cruel adults like abusers, pedophilia, stalkers, and other things that led to the girls, trauma in their past, and these villains. And then you have the main character who has to assist these girls and make sure the girls like stay alive during the whole entire ideal. And the girl who she has to rescue, has a name, but each girl has a name. Each of them have a different trauma that you'll experience in the series. But overall, the Wonder Egg plot, I think when you delve more into I and the other three characters, and then saving these egg girls, based on the tormentor. Every egg girl is around 14 years old, and they are a suicide victim. The heroine, Aya, Nero, Rika, and Moe defend the egg girls to resurrect a friend who commits suicide. Every girl they protect brings them closer to achieving their goal, and each screams dreamscapes, I guess you could call that, locates where their friend or family passed away. The victims are represented by a statue frozen in place moments before their death, and the girls must buy the eggs from two mannequin men who call themselves Akis. That explains various aspects of the dream world to create an internal logic. Now, that's where I was like, huh? Kind of like went over my head. But like as I delve more deeper, they kind of explain more and more of their dreamscape, and then their whole philosophy of these girls and why it has to be these girls. And why sometimes when they ask questions, they don't really give them like a straightforward answer. they always like, give them a subtle thing. But one thing that's interesting, that's only one specific gender in these anime. It's only boys and girls, but it only focuses on the girls' suicide, meaning that men and the gender are more goal oriented and women are more emotional oriented. Women are very impulsive and easily influenced by other voices. And that might be blatantly untrue to some sense, but suggestions in other worlds can lead the girls who have committed suicide to be, harmful to their mental state. And then the heroines struggle with their own turmoil and their own problems that could dealt with themes of forbidden love, grief, regret, and self-loathing, and much more as you delve like more deep into the egg girls and their trauma, and the heroines confronting their own problem. I think it's always depicting of like how you're gonna develop this archetype with all these characters, including the egg girls who are suicide victims. They're not really enough plot time to get them more of a fleshed out appearance, but you get like the general just enough to where you're fleshed out of the egg girls to get why they did what they did and what happened to them and why these girls needed to kind of like save them. I feel like it's the same effort is put in when he had off a lion and they killed the puppy. And I'm so sad seeing too. But back on track, when these girls commit suicide or she was abused, it's been that same scenario, like in a depressing situation, you'd be a monster if you didn't feel sympathetic for it, but also you want to scare the audience straight. You kind of did it based on that whole shock factor. And the animation, it was done really well, including all the fight scenes. But on that note, if this does deal with a lot of sensitive topics like mental illness, suicide, and I feel like the writers of the show handled like sexual assault with the utmost respect and care they possibly could tread in this anime, especially in Wonder Egg Priority, where they treat it with a sense of sensitivity of a sledgehammer. They do throw in shots of a dead girl's body with her head smashed in on a spot of blood on the pavement, But then, like, you have also the worst case scenario where you see a girl get raped on screen. Like, you don't see the full thing, but you see, like, it happening. And also, like, I'm like, if that doesn't, like, irk your emotion on it, then I don't know, how you react to that type of thing. And, like, it's no wonder that there have been a lot of critics for Wonder Egg Priority. Those who experience trauma and basically use that to star the audience. I know sometimes a violence and high quality art does not make it the story any deeper, trying to excuse like the actions, the details putting to drawing a Dago's body's foot on the pavement. Not a really good idea. But Wonder Egg has much the art of emotional manipulation in some type of way. That being said, making depressing stories featuring these adorable girls like Madoka Magica, Revolutionary Girl Yuta, and Princess Tutu, they deal with suicide, sexual assault, death, and other heavy topics. Not to mention, they copy Madoka's spirit gem when they go use to summon adorable Pokemon like guardians in the Wonder Eggs, and making more of the victim showing more two dimensional in some sense. But you also trying to understand that the mental illness is, it's done well, but I think because it could done even better, and also having the character have this really colorful design, and would make the audience that much more sympathetic with them. And each of the egg guards find their own reason for suicide, and some of them clearly said because they were repeatedly assaulted. Now the script can be and the dialogue conversation can be very awkward at times, but they all high school, like teenage high school girls, and they're trying to make sure that they also deal with their own trauma while helping these other girls with their own trauma. We're not getting hurt in the process, and I think also when there are some of these egg girls that you'll feel really sympathetic for, and sometimes the characters will ask egg girls like, why did they kill themselves? The girl could say there's a girl that kind of gets the reference to like the Sixth Sense and why she did it. But like if you take this whole like total nightmare field, you could see people say that more like a dark humor that would offend people in reality. But on the other side, the main characters have plenty more time to develop and for more character development. You have a lot of characters that are really fleshed out. One of the girls, Rinka, and hers, I feel like her story is more about redemption, and then with the other girls, I won't get too much into Rinka's because I think more important for you to see like for yourself. And then I think for Rika's character for redemption, it goes through the arc of which friend she's trying to save and how Rika like kind of like it leads to like regretful and self-loathing as she reflects on these emotions, and trigger warning if it because of her how she deals with it. But like she is self-reflecting next to a mirror. The mirror is a symbol for self-reflection, and I think and the weapon she has kind of mirrors that of what she uses on herself to deal with her trauma and uses against herself to fight her own trauma. But like I feel like when you keep going, certain characters' arc will peak, and then you'll see why sometimes these subtle symbolism isn't very subtle, you know? And sometimes I feel like sometimes when you have good character development, it's good for the characters to go over these challenges that are blocking the way for them to overcome them. And I feel like the writers could have done a much better part. I feel like one thing a writer could have done a really better on Rika's little arc is that the few times that they implicated, Rika's like past with the adult. But I wish they didn't do that because that's a harmful topic in the pedophilia, especially with a very young character, and they didn't address it well. But hopefully that's not the case here. But also with the other girls are very strong where the energies stay when they wake up. You know, I feel like other girls you explore more. Like Moe, she's one of the few characters. I feel like she's respectfully portrayal as a transgender character anime. She is confronted with true life problems facing by transgender people, faced with integrity in society as a true gender. Her friends fell in love with her, but Moe kind of gets scared to push her away because she was uncomfortable. No, it wasn't anyone's fault, but this is Moe's most obstacle in her life because all the egg girls that she's encountered are all part of the LGBTQ community, and or there's one that takes her for a man, except for one. I wouldn't say like that's how the show portrays only lesbian interaction as predatorial. Still, it could be worse, but they are attracted to her because she appears handsome and dressed masculine despite being feminine on the inside. I feel like the Wonder Killer that Moe fights are typically pedophilias. Like her fights are symbolic for claiming her true gender and rejecting the patriarchy. But her dream world perhaps is more straightforward. I think there was a time where I'm like, oh, okay, it's only the girl, but then the girl's kind of mistaken like for a boy, but she's not, and just to reveal that to them. And then also there are chances where most people wouldn't bother most people, but I feel like some people are still judging the transgender community, a lot of mental illness, and a lot of things that are happening in this anime. But like in Wonder Egg, is about people and the stories that are plays out in front of you, and also the parents' understanding of a depressed child. Moe, who's unlike Nara, is a complex of the four heroines, but I won't get too much to them because I want y'all to see the characters for themselves and how they interact, basically. And then the main protagonist is very interesting because her trauma and her friend's trauma are totally completely different, and also I feel like it just delves in much deeper beneath the surface that we barely got just a smidget of answers to, and I don't know. But it's very interesting and very deep and it's very moving. I was less speechless by the end of the anime, but definitely check it out for yourself. There's no word yet, if there's gonna be a second season for it, but in the end, the title does come in fruition in the anime because the Wonder Eggs and into their mission is their top priority. See what I did there? Is to guide them and to protect them. So hopefully, you know, if you're okay with this type of anime and the graphic that does contain scene that that you really what's what I'm looking for. Enjoy it, but also make sure um, please, please, if your mental health's not that good, do not, and I repeat, do not watch this. It's certain stuff that's triggering you as anime. But you know, if you're okay in a proper mental headspace to watch it, definitely check it out. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is one anime that hits a lot of deep home topics that are not really explored, but also I think like that's what I'm looking for. There needs to be more expansion on the overall fact of there's a lot of deeper issues that most people don't talk about, and this anime did it well, but I also think there could be a time where animes, especially this one in particular, do out with a serious tone, but also may have to make it lighthearted in some moments, but also refocusing back on its messages. But definitely check it out for yourself and let me know what you think. But also, like, all the four characters and their little companions they do get in the show, I think they're kind of similar in some in a way. And I think also I think overall, like, kind of like its overall arcing message was like, I don't know, like it's more like propaganda or like I don't know what to call it, but I think it does hit that growing coming of age anime, and the egg has symbolized like teen filled drama and like things that they go through, and the metaphoric imagery and action like just take a that has the that something screams loudly like you know if something like, and I don't know if that's the right word I'm using or thinking of, but like don't be a part of like the bystander effect, like speak up if something's wrong or something like that. But I don't know. I feel like the anime goes deeper, but I'm not sure if it would help if the writers did deal a little bit better with the script. And this is like a original series. There's no manga for it that I'm aware of, but I do know since it did come out winter 2021 and it ended like March 31st, 2021. It does have room for improvement. I will say that. I do give it an 8 out of 10. The message is very powerful, very deep. All the characters have a good overarching arc to them where it could be more developed and spread out. And I think each of the girls dealing with trauma issues is very helpful, especially in the series as a whole. But definitely check it out for yourself and let me know what you think.